Retirement Journey with Justin Fort, where it's all about the health, wealth, and freedom you need to live life your way, all the way. I'm Justin, and I'm here in studio with my trusty sidekick and executive assistant by day, Jennifer Carter.
Good afternoon.
We welcome you to give us a call live at 512-643-5483. You can also send us emails with your questions and comments to ask@fortwm.com. And it's a nice rainy day today. Hopefully you're driving safe, and watch out for flood zones. I know I got a warning last night, popped up on my phone, and that always freaks me out in the middle of the night. Who could be texting me or calling me? But in fact, it was a warning about a possible flood in the area. So just be careful out there. We wish you the best. Good thing I don't have to water my lawn as much. We can use the rain here in Central Texas. There's over $58 billion in missing money just waiting to be claimed out there.
Really?
That's a lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
It's somebody's money. It may be yours. How much of it's yours? Well, maybe you want to stay tuned. Let's find out. $300 million is in forgotten pensions could be reunited with their rightful owners or heirs. If only you knew where to look, some of that could be yours. There's a lot more to locating missing money than just searching your state's unclaimed property website here in Texas, where forgotten bank accounts, paychecks, refunds, rebates, utility deposits, life insurance policies, stocks, and more wait to be claimed. There's a variety of accounts out there that people leave behind. You may have popped between employers, and maybe had a 401k somewhere, or a 457 or 403b, and then just moved on in the hustle and bustle that is moving. It can be complicated to move from one city to another state to another, and you may leave things on the table. If a windfall is waiting for you, Mary Pitman, our guest today, consumer advocate and author of the Little Book of Missing Money, will show you how to claim it. So stay tuned. We're going to listen to what Mary Pitman has to say, learn more about her book, so that maybe you can find out how much of that $58 billion is yours, or your heirs, or your relatives, or your friends. We'll see. Before we get to Mary Pitman, I was thinking, I was actually talking to you, Jennifer, about breaking bones. And you said you hadn't broken a bone in your body ever.
No. Surprisingly not, no.
Yeah, so for me, that's surprising, because I've broken a couple of bones in the past. And I was thinking about a time when I must have been probably 7 years old, maybe 8 years old. And I remember watching Indiana Jones. I thought he was the coolest guy ever. And I thought, if I just had a whip like his, that would make me really cool. Then I could whip things, right? A normal 7, 8 year old boy. And so somehow I convinced my parents to get me a whip. And, back then we lived in Southern California, so it wasn't too far to go to Tijuana, Mexico, and you can get a really nice Indiana Jones looking whip. Well, I got one, went home, played with it, learned how to crack it, make those sounds, and I decided, I'm going to climb our cinder block wall in our backyard. So I threw that whip up there, and it stuck. And I thought, oh, great, I did it. I'm Indiana Jones. Let me just climb up. So I start pulling on the whip, and a big cinder block fell from the top of that wall and landed right on my left foot.
Oh, ouch.
Yeah. And I, of course, cried, and, I'd go to my parents and what happened, and, something happened to his foot. What do we do? They took me to the hospital. That's what you do. That's what I do with my kids, right? If I don't know, I got to go take them. So went to the hospital and did some x-rays and found out, in fact, I had fractured my foot. Needed to put, a stern wrap on there. Didn't need a cast, but, had a, what do you call them? The
like the boot or the crutches.
Crutches,
yes.
Right? Crutches, yeah. So I had used crutches for a while, but there's a good story or analogy in this story with respect to financial planning and maybe missing money that has to do with understanding the facts before we know what actions we should be taking. And if you think you broke something, my parents thought I couldn't explain to them very well. I didn't know. You ask a 7-year-old, did you break your foot? What are they going to say? It hurts, right? That's what I said. So they can't really trust me to understand my situation. So they had to take me to an expert, the hospital, get an x-ray, and then have an x-ray technician take a look at it. to determine that, in fact, yes, I did break a foot, fractured my foot. So what do we do about that? Well, they had treatments. Well, you may have something broken with respect to your retirement plan. You may have something broken in your portfolio, and you may not be aware of it or be able to articulate that to someone, and you need an x-ray. And that's exactly what we do day in and day out at Fort Wealth Management, is we x-ray portfolios and retirement plans to see what's broken. If nothing's broken, then what we do is we look at, are all of the opportunities being employed to make your retirement the way it should be. And you just like I was a 7-year-old, couldn't articulate. You may not know what questions to ask or how to perform that x-ray on yourself or your financial situation. So you need to have an expert do that, and have someone with the right software tools and all those things. And that's what we do at Fort Wealth Management. So that we can help you understand whether you have a fracture and how long do you want to limp into retirement with a fracture. That could be very painful for you and your beneficiaries, your heirs. You don't want to be putting yourself in a position where one day, instead of eating the filet mignons like you've been used to, you have to turn to ground beef. I mean, I like ground beef, but maybe that would be a choice for you. You don't want to go through life and you have saved and worked so hard for everything that you've done to prepare for this retirement phase, this journey. We want to make sure, and that's why we have this radio show, to make sure that you have the health, wealth, and freedom you need to live life your way all the way. And if we can find you some of that $58 billion, or if you can help yourself find some of that $58 billion, that may just help your retirement a little bit more. And that's why we're excited to have Mary Pitman on with us, so that she can help you and all of us understand how maybe you can go about doing some of your own x-ray and your own analysis into whether or not there's some missing money for you out there. So Jennifer, can you tell us a little bit about Mary?
Definitely. Mary, she's a consumer advocate who believes no one should have to pay a ransom to get their own money. She's author of the Little Book of Missing Money, a quick and easy guide to finding money that is rightfully yours. Mary has appeared on America's Money Class with Suze Orman and Good Morning America, AARP, CNN Money, plus dozens of radio shows and other media.
Welcome, Mary. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, Justin.
We are very excited to have you on. And, before we cut to a break, you got into this business of finding missing money for people because this was at least some kind of a hobby for you, I guess, initially, and you were a nurse. Is that correct?
That's correct. I got into it because actually one of my friends told me about it, and I kind of rolled my eyes and thought, oh, my God, you're so gullible. This is such a scam. And I ended up finding $2,500 from my father, who died indigent in 2001. I became a believer.
Yeah, and that's got to make you feel good. Hey, it's working.
Yes.
This hobby, this fun thing is actually brightening the lives of those that you love and people that you worked with. So, Mary, when we get back from break, we're going to talk more about your book, and we're going to talk about some of the ways that our people can take charge of maybe getting some of that $58 billion for themselves. So,
I'm in favor of that.
Yeah. Again, we'll be back in just a minute. I'm Justin, Retirement Journey Talk 1370.
When it's over, so let's say it'll rain a sunny day. I know, shining down like water. I want to know, have you ever seen
This is Talk 1370. You're listening to Retirement Journey with Justin Fort. You can call us live at 512-643-5483 or send us questions and comments to ask@fortwm.com. We are talking about how you may have some missing money out there and how you can go about tracking that down. And we're visiting with Mary Pitman, consumer advocate and author of The Little Book of Missing Money, a quick and easy guide to finding money that is rightfully yours. And guess what? We have a couple of copies of Mary's book that we are wanting to give away to callers. So again, let me give the number out. It's 512-643-5483. We've got 2 copies of the book here in studio with us. We'd love you to get yours. So call us when you can, and we'll be happy to give that. And of course, if you've got questions for Mary, we want to hear them. So Mary, you found some money, and that was kind of a confirming thing for you and what you were doing, and kind of helped you with motivation to continue on down that path. And now you are this advocate. You're an author, and for those of us that are thinking to ourselves, I don't know if I've got any money. I probably don't, or this is a scam. What can someone like us do? What can everyone do to begin, say, a search to find out if this is something that may mean something to them?
Well, first of all, most people believe that it doesn't apply to them. And I was one of those. I thought, oh, this is such a scam. But the easiest thing to do to look for yourself, or even your church, or if you own a business or you have a favorite nonprofit, is go to unclaimed.org. And that's the only 2 words you put in. If you put in anything else, it will take you to sites that want to charge you. Never, ever pay for an online search. Unclaimed.org is free to search and free to claim. The other site that you may hear about is called missingmoney.com. The thing with that is not all states participate. So let's say Texas happens to be one that does participate, but let's say you live in California and you enter your name, it's not going to show anything because California doesn't participate. So even if there is money there, it's not going to show up. That's why I send everybody to unclaimed.org.
So all states participate on unclaimed.org, and I'm actually looking at the website now. We've got a computer here in studio, and you can click on Texas, you can click on any of the states here, and it will pull up more options for someone to be able to search or begin their search.
Correct. And if you look at the home page on unclaimed.org, there's an orange tab up at the top that says Other Sources for Unclaimed Property. Most people miss that, but if you click on it, it will take you to federal sites. Federal money does not get turned over to the states.
Right. And I see, so I'm looking at it right now. I'm seeing Pension Benefit Guarantee Corp. There's a searchable database, Federal Deposit Insurance Corp. Search for any unclaimed insured deposits, and on and on. And there's a whole list here. Holocaust links. I mean, there's a variety of different sources where I guess money could just be tied up or be notated somehow. These institutions are having to track this. And I also read, just to kind of jump ahead a little bit, but I read a little bit in the book here about auctions that take place. After so many years, a state or an entity will do an auction and then still hold those funds.
Right, and that's for safe deposit box contents. Once the safe deposit box, either the payments aren't made or that's usually the reason, then those contents get turned over to the state. The thing is, some states will only auction off things that have monetary value, and other things like a lock of a baby's hair or love letters from a soldier overseas or, something like that gets trashed in most cases.
Okay. So somebody has to make an evaluation then as to what's valuable.
Right, and they do usually get the stuff appraised. And while I don't know for sure if they must sell it for the appraised value, but there's a possibility that what you have could be sold for significantly less than what it's actually worth.
Yeah, and I know I think a lot of us have probably received emails about our late great uncle, that there was a king somewhere and left money and it's in Nigeria.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
I'm joking, but I mean, there's these, there's definitely a lot of trolling, maybe unscrupulous entities out there or individuals that are trying to ensnare people. And maybe in some kind of a greed play to get them to fall for giving them money and not get anything back, right? That scam. So how do you counsel people to avoid missing money scams?
Well, first of all, the states aren't going to contact you by email because there's no way they know that it's you. Some of the states give you an option to sign up if there's a new listing that comes in under your name, but you would have signed up for that and you would know that and expect it. But they're not going to contact you out of the blue by email. It may be a phone call from the state or it may be a letter.
So can someone...
If you're not sure...
So can someone sign? Yeah. So what you're saying is someone can sign up with the state to get notified if something pops up for them ever.
Right. Some states have that. Not all of them.
Okay.
I live in Florida. Florida doesn't have that option. I think Pennsylvania does. Another couple of states do, I believe. But you would have signed up for it, so you would know that. Another red flag is if it says that it comes from the National Association of Unclaimed Property Administrators. Now, that is a legitimate organization, but it's kind of the equivalent of getting something from the American Medical Association that says, we have your lab results. The individual states belong to NAPA, National Association of Unclaimed Property Administrators, just like your physician may belong to the AMA, but the AMA is not going to call you or contact you and tell you, we have money.
You have to dig for it. Yeah, you have to look, is what we're saying here.
No, I'm saying that if you get something that says it's from the organization, the National Association of Unclaimed Property Administrators, that's a red flag.
Oh, I see. Okay.
The American Medical Association is not going to say, we have your lab results. Give us your information.
The legitimate institutions are wanting you to reach out to them. They're not going to be so proactive, is what you're saying.
Well, the states may reach out to you, just like your doctor may say, I have your lab results. Contact me. The individual states may contact you. Some are more proactive than others. A lot of them kind of just sit on the money. Minnesota was one of them. They just had a law enacted that said that they have to make an actual effort to find people because they keep the interest on the money as long as they have it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a question just popped into my mind, Mary, about, multiple states. We live in Texas, so we think, okay, well, I just need to look in Texas. But, and even if, let's say someone didn't ever live outside of Texas, they've lived in Texas their entire life, does it make sense to ever look in some other states because of maybe relatives or other things that could have taken place there? Have you ever seen that be the case?
Absolutely. For example, let's use the FDIC as an example. First of all, you can check any state. You can look up any name that you want to. You can look up celebrities in California if you want to. You can't claim it, but you can look it up.
So it's public knowledge is what you're saying there.
Right.
Okay.
As far as other states, let's use the FDIC as an example. The way it works is, in Washington Mutual is an example of a bank that went under that was FDIC insured. So here's how it works. If they have your address, the FDIC will send you a check for up to the insured amount. If they don't have your address, or if you had an overseas address, then the money gets turned over to the state where the bank is incorporated. In this case, it would be California. So if you were, had a foreign address, or for whatever reason they don't have your address, the money gets turned over to California, and you may have never been there.
Wow, that's a really good point. I think
And the other thing with FDIC is it's only insured for 10 years. After that, the state turns it back to the FDIC, and you lose all right to it.
Another good point. So don't delay checking on these things, and maybe spend a couple hours every weekend or so going through and looking at different states, and actually, I guess, registering where you can, right? Would you recommend doing that for someone so that they can get notification if something does pop up? Because I know that also in your book, you talk about how sometimes it takes a couple of years before property is actually listed, just because of the logistics and bureaucracy of, according to the states. And because we've got so many states, it's very difficult to tell, everybody in a radio show program like we've got today about how this works, but we can at least talk about generalities. And Mary, we're gonna have to go for another break real quick, but when we get back, I want to talk more about pensions and how there's money there for people, often insurance companies, and some of the simple things that people can do to try to find out how much of that $58 billion they have for them and their families just sitting there waiting to be collected. So we're going to be back here. I'm Justin, Retirement Journey Talk 1370. Talk 1370. You're listening to Retirement Journey with Justin Fort, where it's all about the health, wealth, and freedom you need to live life your way, all the way. I'm Justin, and you can call us live at 512-643-5483 or send us your questions and comments to ask@fortwm.com. We've got a few copies, a couple of copies too, in fact, of the little book of Missing Money here, written by Mary Pitman, consumer advocate and author. And we are talking about how there's lots and lots of unclaimed property out there, whether it's with banks, pension guarantee corps. There's ways to find these things and to avoid scams, but to collect that money that's there. And I just wanted to read. You have a number of fun facts here, Mary, in your book, and I thought one of these facts was well, they're fun. That's how you listed them, but this one is definitely fun. The largest single payout to an individual in the United States was $32.8 million from a stock claim to a person in Connecticut.
Wow.
Yes, that's my goal in life is to look at my statement and go, I feel like I'm a little short.
Yeah, wouldn't it be great if you Mary could find somebody just a little above that, at least beat that number, right? 33 million.
Yeah,
that would be pretty cool.
Need to know though, this is really serious because this is something that's changing among the states, and people need to know this. There was a recent story that went viral from the Associated Press about states taking money, and they gave an example of a gentleman who was a chemist working out of France, but he owned stock. The company that he worked for was incorporated in Delaware. So Delaware has switched from a returned mail criteria to that's what they were using to start the dormancy period, the period of inactivity where they think that you've lost track of the account. So they took his stocks and sold them for $1.7 million. Unbeknownst to him, they never notified him. So the company that he was working for ended up being bought by Merck, and the stock would have been worth, if he still had it, $13.4 million.
Wow.
And there's nothing he can do because Delaware took the money. Oh. So the important thing for your listeners to know, because I know some of them have stocks as part of their retirement portfolios, is you need to have customer-initiated activity at least once a year. And by that, I mean log into the account, call and make sure they have your address. Even though you haven't moved, it doesn't matter. What matters is customer-initiated activity.
Just so they know you're still there.
Right. Otherwise, you're at risk of them taking it. Same thing with CDs. And it doesn't matter that your bank account, your checking account or savings account, that you're active with that. People are finding that their CDs, even with the same bank that they do all their banking with, are getting turned over to the state.
Yeah, and that's one thing that I want to talk about too, is that we don't have to look for money if we don't lose it. So there may be some ways that we can try to prevent our money from getting turned over to the state. But before we get into that, Mary, I just wanted to take a call from Diane in Round Rock. Diane, how are you doing, Diane?
Oh, real good. Can you hear me? I'm on my cell.
You sound fine.
Oh, good. Well, thank you for taking my call. And my question is, I had contacted the state of New York. Apparently, I had life insurance from my parents, and my parents are sadly both gone. They said I have to prove who I am, of course. Now, I don't have anything because it was my address as a baby, And we have moved many times. And I even went through a lot of my mom's things, and I couldn't find anything with my name, my main name, with the address that took place. What should I do?
How about a birth certificate?
Yeah, I have to look for that. But yes, I could do that. And then send them a copy, obviously not the original.
Well, they usually want a certified copy of whatever you're sending. But just make sure that you tell them, I want this back. But if it was when you were a child and when you were born, that may be an option for you.
Okay. Is there anything else other than the birth certificate if I don't want to take that chance of losing that? Because I have the only copy because I had requested that before, and they said this is the only copy.
Well, you can always get another certified copy through the state where you were born. That's
okay, because they said always. I have the original now. All right.
Mm-hmm. Well, they can give you a certified copy, and if you're more comfortable with that, contact them and have them send you that, and then you keep the original.
Okay.
But look at the original and see if it has your address on it. Otherwise, some options that come to mind are, I don't know if the Department of Motor Vehicles would have driver's license records from that far back, or maybe the property appraiser's office if they owned property there.
Yeah, it won't have my name, but it would have my parents.
Right, but that would show that you would live there. Best thing to do is call the state of New York and see what they will accept. But I would think your birth certificate, if that was the house where you were born, usually has an address on it.
Yeah,
and that shows that they were your parents too.
Okay.
Yeah, that sounds like a good way to start. And Diane, if you'll hold on here, well, we've got your phone number. We'll give you a call, and we'll give you a copy of Mary's book here, and you can go through. There may be some other money as well, since you guys sounded like you guys had moved around to different states and different addresses. So aside from this one piece, while you're at it, you might want to take a look at this book and see what else you might be able to dig up. So,
thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for calling, Diane, and we will get you the copy of this book. So, Mary, insurance. That was another point that I wanted to bring up. Life insurance. Often there's concern because we do life insurance there at Fort Wealth Management for our clients in some cases, and the question is usually, well, how are my children going to be able to access this? And that's exactly normal. What I say is, well, you got to have a, birth certificate, driver's license, death certificate. The insurance companies have their policies, and depending on the insurance company, they may vary a little bit, but you have to prove essentially that you are the beneficiary. Right,
and I'm sure you do this with your clients. You have to keep your beneficiary information updated.
Absolutely.
Because the last thing you want is for your ex-spouse, who you forgot to take off the policy, to be your beneficiary.
Yeah, that's like the nightmare scenario. So avoid nightmare scenarios. If you're just tuning in, you're listening to The Retirement Journey with Justin Fort, where it's all about the health, wealth, and freedom you need to live life your way, all the way. I'm Justin, and I'd love for you to give us a call live at 512-643-5483, or send us your questions and comments to ask@fortwm.com. We're talking about missing money, how you can do some searching of your own, and maybe uncover some of that $58 billion that's out there. And we're visiting with Mary Pitman, the author of The Little Book of Missing Money, and we do have one more copy left since one's going to Diane. Thanks, Diane. So we'd love for you to give us a call. Again, it's 512-643-5483, and ask us a question. Ask a question to Mary. So Mary, how do we prevent money from actually just getting to the state? What are things that people can do?
That I'm all about prevention, because my thought is, like you just said, you don't have to look for it if you prevent it from happening. And if people know how to prevent it from happening, it's so easy. First of all, have customer-initiated activity on all of your accounts at least once a year. Most states say it has to be within 3 years, but if you do it once a year, you don't have to worry about, how long ago did I access that? Make it the same day every year. Make it your birthday. I did National Find Your Missing Money Day as April 16th, the day after your taxes are due. If that works for you, fine. Just some type of customer-initiated activity. Make a deposit, make a withdrawal, call and check on it, log into it, do something.
And some of these pots of money, if you will, or buckets of money that people accumulate over years can be through their employer, and 401ks. There's I know there's a lot of 401k money that administrators have, custodians have with employers that are just sitting there because an employee left, and maybe they don't know where the employee is anymore. We talked a little bit about pensions. Do you have a story about pensions and missing money?
Yes. Actually, my next tip I was going to give for preventing it from happening was, if you have a 401k or any type of retirement plan, roll it over to your new employer, because not only may you forget about it, companies change, the people who administrate the plan may change. That's the best way to keep track of it. I worked for Northside Hospital in Atlanta, and I was positive I rolled over my 401k, and yet once a year they would send me something. So I had it in a pile of stuff to do that I was going to contact them and say, I don't have anything with you anymore. So I open up this letter, and it's blah, 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 blah. Employer-funded pension, defined benefit pension plan. Like, whoa, do I have a pension too? Yes, I did.
Nice. Nice.
So, but if you think you've lost track of those, for pensions, you can go to the Pension Benefit Guarantee Corporation. It's pbgc.gov. They even have listings for companies that have gone bankrupt, like Enron and Eastern Airlines. You can search by the person's name, by the company name, or by the state. So that's one option, and that's part of that nearly $300 million that's just sitting there. One listing they have is for $700,000. You know that person has to have passed on, and somebody just doesn't know about it.
Yeah, and the states, for the most part, they hold on to this money almost in perpetuity, except for one state, right? You
right.
mentioned
Indiana
another fun fact, right?
Right. Indiana will only hold it 25 years. After that, it's theirs, and you lose.
Wow.
But the other places, as far as retirement money, you can go to unclaimedretirementbenefits.com and see if you have a 401k that you left behind, but that only works if your employer has listed it there. And also, don't forget, if you're in the military, the thrift savings plan that they have. Don't forget about that. So those are three retirement aspects that you can consider.
Right. And, day in and day out, I work with people here in the Austin area, helping them understand how they can protect, preserve, and grow retirement assets so that they can have the retirement of their dreams. And normally what we talk about is, how do we make sure that we're not losing money? How do we make sure that we're not paying too much in fees? How do we make sure that we don't have holes in our bucket, per se? Because it's much easier to not lose money in most cases than it is to try to grow while you're losing. So we want to make sure that we're all good stewards of the money and resources that we've worked so hard to amass, and we want those that money and resources, those monies and resources, to be used the way we want them to be used, and not to sit collecting dust with some state somewhere. So again, we've got this book here, the little book of missing money. We'd love to give it to you. So give us a call at 512-643-5483, and we'll give that to you when we get back from this break. We'll be back. I'm Justin, Retirement Journey Talk 1370. Talk 1370. You're listening to Retirement Journey with Justin Fort. You can call us live at 512-643-5483 or send us your questions and comments to ask@fortwm.com. We're going to be talking about the top 10 Social Security myths here in a little bit. But I want to wrap up this idea of you finding missing money for yourself and your family. Number one, we want to try to not lose it in the first place. We don't want it to go to the state because it's a real pain to get it back. But you know what? We may not know what we don't know. We may not know. You may not know that there's money sitting out there waiting for you. I'm sure the gentleman that found that $37 million plus, the biggest unclaimed property find in history, was probably unaware that money was sitting there, or maybe didn't know how much was actually there. So we've kind of talked a little bit about some websites, unclaimed.org, and I'm visiting with Mary Pitman, consumer advocate and author of The Little Book of Missing Money, a quick and easy guide to finding money that is rightfully yours. And if you give us a call, 512-643-5483, we'll be sure to give you our last copy. But there are other copies if you miss the opportunity to get our remaining copy. Mary, how can someone go about getting a copy of your book?
Any bookstore can order it, and it's available, of course, on Amazon and other online sellers.
And
people can get a free copy of the first chapter by going to my website, thelittlebookofmissingmoney.com, and the first chapter is finder's fees, to pay or not to pay. And, of course, I advocate not.
Yeah, don't pay if you don't have to, and don't pay up front to get money. That's yours.
Right. That's another sign that it's a scam.
Right. Well, that's one of the big. If that's the only tip that people take away here, I think that could save people lots and lots of money right there. Again, it's all about not losing it first. That way we don't have to go look for it. But look for it. Looking for it may be a good idea, and maybe you want to do that. Unclaimed.org. Read Mary Pitman's book here. I'd encourage you to do that. Another fun fact, just as we kind of part here, the average claim paid in the U.S. in fiscal year 2011 was $892. So if it takes you, you spend an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours maybe, what's that? Maybe an average about $300 an hour. That might be worth some time. And you never know. Maybe you're the $30 million person, right? I think maybe your odds are about as likely. Maybe it's better than playing the lottery.
And the thing is, this is the tip of the iceberg. There's so much more. One of the search tips is you can reverse your name when you're looking it up. Sometimes the last name is in the first name spot, and the first name is in the last name spot. Hence,
this is why everybody needs to get a copy of your book, Mary, because I saw that in your book, and I thought that was really smart. So there's a lot of things that we're not able to talk about on the radio here because we just don't have time, and that's why we love books. And it can't be a scam if you're learning and reading. You're paying for the book. You're not paying to get your money, and that's the important thing. And so I thank you for being on the show with us, Mary, and applaud you for the work that you're doing. I'm sure that many people are going to benefit from what you're doing here, and helping everyone keep track of their money and keep it out of the hands of the state. And I'm sure the state would rather not have to deal with it either, unless they're Indiana. Maybe
that's true.
So,
thank you so much for having me, Justin and Jennifer.
It was a pleasure.
Yes.
Thanks for being on. And again, if you'd like to get a copy of Mary's book, we've got one here left. You can call us at 512-643-5483 or send us an email to ask@fortwm.com. So switching gears, I want to talk about Social Security, and I've got 10 Social Security myths that you're going to want to hear about. Number 1, claim benefits early before the system runs out. You probably heard that before. Well, this is taken from this piece, Top 10 Social Security Myths. You can read it yourself if you like, but I'm just going to touch on this. This is written by Mary Beth Franklin from Investment News, and this is September 15th, 2015. Well, the answer to that, should you take it before it runs out? Well, even if Congress does nothing between now and 2034, when the Social Security trust funds are projected to run dry, there would still be sufficient funds from FICA taxes to fund about 75% of promised retirement and survivor benefits. But it is highly unlikely that lawmakers would let the most popular and successful government program in history reach that point. You know what I say in my seminars, because we do Social Security seminars, and we've got one coming up next month. We'd love for you to attend. Jennifer will can give us some information.
Yes, November the 10th and 12th, Tuesday and Thursday. It's at Gumbo's in Georgetown. So to RSVP, call the 800-769-1614 or our office at 512-433-6492.
And I do talk about the system. We talk a little bit about the trust fund, Social Security trust fund report. And if you've looked at it, it's quite long. It's hundreds of pages long. So there are a number of things that politicians want to do and don't want to do. And one of them is they don't want to vote on something that's going to cause them to not be reelected. Right? That's one way to say that really politicians, their goal is to be reelected, and they don't want to be the one that takes your benefits away. And really, you're a baby boomer, and you look at the vast majority of baby boomers, it's a voting bloc that politicians are afraid of. It's my belief, my opinion, and the opinion of many other people in our industry that more than likely what's going to happen is Social Security is going to have to change. The FICA taxes are going to raise those. They're going to have to probably eliminate the ceiling on Social Security taxable wages so that more funds will come in at that time. So that's myth number one. Myth number two, it doesn't matter when you claim benefits. Well, if you've listened to the show before, if you've ever been if you've done any research online, you know that that's just not the case. You can claim as early as 62 for your own benefits, but that would permanently reduce, if your full retirement age was 66, permanently reduce your full retirement age benefit by 25%, permanently. So it does matter when you claim. And if you're married or you're divorced and you have an active spousal benefit that you might be able to take, then there's a variety of other caveats there. There's hundreds of ways to structure Social Security. And one of the things I do with my clients is we want to make sure how we can get the most money back from the federal government. You ask yourself, do you want to get the most money back from the federal government? Do you want to pay your fair share of taxes, but pay less? Save more of that for your future, because when in retirement, when things are getting more expensive, you're going to need every dollar to go to the places you want them to go to, whether it's for your retirement income or for your children or grandchildren. Myth number three: working while collecting Social Security has no impact on the benefit amount. Well, you know that's not true if you're under full retirement age. If you're not 66, or, it may be 66 in 2 months for you, 66 in 4 months, you can check there's ways to find out what is your full retirement age. But if you collect before then, for 2015 and 2016, you can earn up to $15,720 without giving up any of those Social Security benefit checks. Well, what I've seen time and time again with people that may have had to collect at 62 or 63, maybe they were laid off or something, and then they get a job, but they're not full retirement age yet with Social Security. Problem is they already claimed. So rather than get a reduction, they need to know that they can go back to Social Security, and Social Security has some options for that. So one thing I say in the seminars, one thing I say to you now is, don't let Social Security just happen to you. You need to have a plan. Social Security, as much as they try to do what they're supposed to be doing, one of their mandates is not to give you advice on how to file with Social Security and when to take and what to do about your situation. And that's why it's very important to meet with a financial professional like myself or someone else that really fully gets this. So working before full retirement age can impact you. It does matter. And in the year you turn 66 or you turn full retirement age, there's a higher earning that you can achieve without giving up anything. Myth number 4, everyone should file and suspend at 66. Probably heard that before, file and suspend. File and suspending is like showing up to take roll call, but then leaving. You're not taking any money with you. You're not actually collecting benefits. You're suspending, but you're going in and filing. Although filing and suspending is a powerful strategy that can allow you, if you're married, to trigger benefits for a spouse or minor dependent child while the worker's own retirement benefits will continue to grow until age 70, it is not appropriate for everyone. You know, that's funny. Almost nothing is appropriate for everyone, ever. But in this case, this is not appropriate for everyone, even though it sounds like maybe the majority it would be good for. Because each person is allowed to have one choice when claiming Social Security. If you file and suspend, it would preclude you from using a different strategy of restricting your claim to spousal benefits, which might be a better choice in some cases. Again, you got to have a plan before you show up to Social Security and start filing, suspending, and doing these other things, because Social Security is not going to give you the advice that you might need per your specific situation. And that's something that I'm very willing to do. I do with everybody that comes to the dinner seminars that we do on Social Security. But you can also give us a call at 512-433-6492. Schedule an appointment there. Jennifer will find a time for you to come in and bring in your Social Security statements. We can go through that and we can take a look at some of your best ways to get the most money back from the federal government. I've got a couple of other myths here. We're talking about top 10 Social Security myths that you don't want to be unaware of. You want the facts, and so that you can live the retirement of your dreams with the health, wealth, and freedom that you need and deserve. And this is Justin, Retirement Journey Talk 1370.
Break your heart, steal your crown. So it started out.
This is Talk 1370. You're listening to Retirement Journey with Justin Fort. And we are talking about 10 myths. Just went through 4 of them. We're back talking about myth number 5. Social Security myth number 5. Claim spousal benefits early and switch to your own maximum retirement benefit at 70. That's good for everybody, right? No, it's not. It got you, Jen.
I did.
No, if you claim Social Security benefits before full retirement age, you cannot select which benefit to receive. It's like a carrot in a sense. You get a benefit of being able to make choices with respect to which records to take from, as long as you are full retirement age or older. So you must, if you take before full retirement age, you must collect your own reduced retirement benefits first and would receive an additional amount only if your spousal benefit, also reduced because you claimed early, were higher than your own. We call that a spousal add-on. So myth number 5. Myth number 6. Divorced spouses are out of luck when it comes to collecting on an ex. Well, the benefits available to divorced spouses were among the least understood Social Security benefits, according to a recent nationwide survey. Of course, that's why we're talking about this. As long as you were married at least 10 years, are divorced, and currently single, you can collect on a former spouse's earnings record. And you know what? They are not going to know about that. That's kind of nice to know. And I have a joke that I tell in the seminar about this that I don't think I'm going to have time for. And maybe, well, it's appropriate, but I won't have time to talk about it. So you'll have to sign up for come see me at one of my dinner seminars that I do on Social Security topic, and you'll hear what I have to say about this. It's eye-opening. Myth number 7. There is no magic claiming strategy to maximize benefits for unmarried individuals. It's just so simple, right? Because I don't have a spouse or ex-spouse. On the contrary, the truth is, file and suspending benefits at 66 can be a powerful strategy for singles because it acts as an insurance policy. At any point up to age 70, an individual can request a lump sum payout of benefits back to the date of suspension instead of the 8% per year. So a lot of people, probably didn't know that you can actually take a lump sum from Social Security. Okay, myth number 8. Excuse me. If a worker delays collecting Social Security until 70, his spouse will receive half of his maximum benefit, half of that large benefit, that age 70 benefit. Answer is no. The maximum spousal benefit is worth 50% of the worker's full retirement age benefit and not more. That's the max. The maximum benefit is that. But if the worker delays benefits until 70 and later dies, the remaining spouse will collect a survivor benefit worth 100% of what the deceased worker collected. So it still may be a good idea to defer to 70 so that that number can potentially be a survivor benefit for your spouse or even ex-spouse if you care. And so the spousal benefit that your spouse can collect from you won't be impacted by that. It's a survivor benefit. And I've said this before. I'll say it again real quick. The world is chock full of widows paying for their husband's mistakes. And usually with respect to Social Security filing and the way life expectancies work, men don't outlive women, women outlive men, and women are going to be left with the higher of the two Social Security checks, and usually it's from the male's record. There's our myths. Bunked. Okay. Next week, you've been saving religiously for retirement, but the markets have not been your friend. We know. Time is short. Will you have to extend your working years to make up for losses? Maybe. Maybe you're already retired and looking at the possibility of going back to work. Before you dust off that resume, join next week as we visit with Mike Burns, author of The Boomer's Guide to Recovering Your Lost Retirement. This may be just what the doctor ordered. We will be back next week to visit with Mike about that. We don't want you or anyone to lose their retirement. We want you to thrive and enjoy everything that life has to offer for you for all of the many, many, many remaining days, because we know life expectancies are increasing. We want to thank Diane for calling in, and we'll make sure she gets the little book of missing money. We want to thank Mary Pitman for coming on today and helping all of us know a little bit more about how to not lose money to the states and how to look for missing money that may be there for us. Remember, $58 billion, that's somebody's somewhere. Maybe some of that's yours. We'll be back next week, and have a wonderful weekend. Drive safe. Stay dry. I'm Justin, Retirement Journey Talk 1370.